All right, and we're live. Welcome back to United in the States. As always, we got my man Mo, classic Man United, the hardest working man in show business. How you doing, Mo?
Yeah, not bad, not bad. Like we've all been struggling. The United is struggling. There's nothing much to talk about of late, so it's not a good time as a United fan. It's not like one of those best moments.
It really isn't. Yeah, it's a tough Christmas season or holiday season because of that. Also, of course, we got Kevin at Football or Soccer TV, fellow New Jerseyan, United Statesian, fellow struggling Man United fan. Kevin, how's it going out there?
Pretty good, man. Everything good besides United. United terrible, but life is good. Life is lifing.
Yeah, life goes on. We go again, as they like to say so often in their Instagram posts after a loss. But yeah, listen, the comments or the title of the video is "United in a Crisis" already. Um, a bit of hyperbole there. It's still early, but Rúben Amorim has had his first 10 matches as Manchester United manager. Some ups, obviously, some downs. Just wanted to think what was you guys' opinion on his tenure so far? How do you feel about style of play, man management, the results? Obviously, do you have any concerns? I'm going to keep this one a little bit open, but Mo, what do you think? I'd like to hear what you have
You
to
know,
say about it first.
from the beginning, I wasn't that expecting him to like 10/10s like within a short period of time. As he said, like the storm will come, and I knew the storm would definitely come because these are the same players that played under Ole. Most of them played under Ole. These are the same players that played under Ralf Ragnick. These are the same players that played under Erik Ten Hag, and these are the same players that played under Ruben Amorim. So I'm not expecting anything big. The only thing I wanted to see is to see a style, to see a plan, to see a structure, and I've seen that. Even though like we are not getting any result from that structure, but you could see the last game I went to Old Trafford was, I don't know, I can't remember. I think we lost to Canada, Nottingham Forest. And let me tell you one bad story. There was a storm in the UK around that time, and I went to the game. The game finished around like 7 to 8 p.m. So I had to come back to London. So I went to the station, and all the trains to London were cancelled due to the storm. So I was told to go to Birmingham. I could get a train from Birmingham to London, and I got to Birmingham around 11 p.m. and no trains. They said due to the storm, all trains to London has been cancelled that night. So I had to like find a hotel to like spend the night. And then unfortunately, I couldn't get any hotel to book because all the hotels were fully booked. Because most of the people traveling that are stuck in Birmingham, like all the hotels are fully booked. So I was stranded in the train station to the next day morning around 9:26 after losing to Nottingham Forest 3-2. So that's the kind of like struggle we go through. Like United, the team is struggling and we are struggling on the side as United fans. So as I said, I'm not expecting anything big. The only thing I'm expecting to see is the structure, to see what he was saying, like the 3-4-3, to see the implementation, to see the team set up. And I've seen that in a couple of games. I've seen it, even though some of the players are really struggling. Like Len Euro, I've seen Len Euro play. He's not like, I haven't been that impressive with him in that kind of information. Even though he's a good young lad, but I prefer to see, like I've seen Mazarawi play in that system, and I prefer to see Mazarawi playing that three-back setup instead of Len Euro, because I feel like Len Euro is kind of like too soft for that kind of system from my point of view. But like I was saying, it's been good so far. We are not getting the results, but you could see like, okay, we have a system, we have a style of play. We just build on it and see what happens from next season.
Yeah, it's rough hearing that, and the adding the insult to injury of having to watch United lose,
Yeah.
and then putting yourself through all this stuff to get to the game, and then having to go home, with the disappointment of a loss, and then being stranded in the Midlands. It's got to be a terrible feeling. But no, I agree. I think there's structurally a lot of good things. But Kevin, I want to hear your opinion. How do you feel about the first 10 games so far?
Well, it started off pretty well. We started off with some positivity, um, getting some results, and actually playing possessive style of football. Where we're like usually like mainly dominating the possession, and we're keeping the ball and stuff like that. So it started off pretty well, and then eventually, like, since he keeps saying that we don't have that much time kind of train. He has to like rotate the squad. So he's getting a lot of stick for rotating too much instead of just sticking to the, the right 11. But I can understand what he's trying to do. He does have some things that he got wrong, like playing other players in positions that they might not suit. But he's just trying to figure it out. So I don't want to put too much like blame on that, because the players are the ones that are getting exposed. And for me, that's the most important thing, because we all knew that like these players weren't like the best. Like we all knew that these players aren't the players to get us challenging again. We knew that they were better than what they were under the previous manager. Unfortunately, we ended up recruiting really bad, and these players don't really suit that system. They suit more of like a 4-2-3-1 or 4-3-3, whatever it is. So in this system where the wing backs and the tens have to really step up, it just shows that the players don't have the IQ levels that we thought, maybe some of us thought they had. I knew a lot, like just by seeing it, that most of these players didn't have that IQ, and a lot that is very important for the system, for Rúben Amorim system to work. So we're not gonna see we're not gonna see it, prime Amorim ball under him maybe at all this season, and we gotta kind of understand that, because he doesn't have the players for that system. They're just not good enough. So we're gonna have to be realistic and ride the storm. Unfortunately, it's gonna be tough, because we're gonna lose a lot of games. You can see the style, though. You can see the shape. You can see what he's trying to do. But once they get into the final third, they kind of just crap themselves. Like they don't know what to do. It looks like they haven't been playing for forever. You know what I mean? So the defensively, I think we've been pretty okay, except that individual mistakes has mainly cost us. Like Onana, Bayandir, these goalkeepers, individual errors, Martinez getting exposed and stuff like that. So I don't think it's so much due to the system. I think it's due to the individuals. Like Martinez is really getting exposed, because he's gonna have to defend in the half spaces, and he's not really good at defending in the half spaces. The lit has been solid. I like the lit. He's really good. I think he suits the system. Euro, he's very young. I think he will suit the system and will come good. But it's too early to tell for Euro. But Mazraoui's best position for me is in that center back, one of the wide center backs. He's not working in the wing back. Ahmad was working in the 10, but then he was working in the wing back, but now he's not working in the 10 because the wing backs are not doing their job. So it's like, you know what I mean? It's like so many things that we need to fix. We need to get wing backs and we need to get 10s. And eventually, we can start getting some more midfielders, and then maybe eventually getting another striker. But for me, the main positions that we need to get in order for this system to at least like kind of see the fruits and labors are the wingbacks and the 10s. But yeah, man, we just gotta remain. A lot of United fans are like losing their minds. You know what I mean? Oh my God, we're 13th and everything. And yeah, we should in a way be losing our minds, but we gotta be realistic. We gotta see the situation. There's context to everything. For me, I don't want to put this on Rúben Amorim. A lot of people are, but I want to put this on Ineos, because for me, what should have happened was we should have got this guy in early before the season, so he can have a preseason with them, so he can recruit the players for him. He's just kind of leaving him out to dry, putting him in the middle of the season. Okay, now do what you got to do. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's a little like, for me, I don't really want to put that blame on him. I want to put the blame on Ineos. And now Ineos is going to have to recruit for him. This January window coming up has to be a very, very important window. Got to get the players in that we need, at least, loan or something, so we can save the season. But yeah, man, this is not looking too good, but we just got to wait. But yeah, what about you, Chris? What you think?
Yeah, honestly, I've been very happy with Amorim so far. Everything I've seen, I like, again, the system I think works. I think I would push back on the recruitment part. I think, Xerxes fits well with the right pieces around him. Euro's still a young guy, very exciting, very talented prospect. But again, I think he fits more into that for the future mold than for currently. And then if you look at the other players we brought in, Ugarte fits the system. He played for Amorim before in Sporting. And then I think, De Ligt and Mazraoui have been two of our 4, if not 3 best players all season. Even after, like De Ligt has been out the last few matches and we've leaked goals without him on the pitch. So I think the players fit. And you can tell our defense, even though we've given up some bad goals lately, it's been down to, like, you both said, individual errors. But I think the defense has looked more solid. One thing I thought, and this is something I thought about going in, the way that the Premier League has changed, where they've gone to either building up or playing with 3 at the back versus 2 at the back. I like to joke and say Ali, made Pep change the way people play, because Pep used to sit his 2 center backs back, and then maybe a defensive midfielder would kind of like split the difference, try to help out. But then we would kill them on the counter with Rashford, Martial, and Dan James. So Pep kind of switched to going 3 at the back. And you feel like most teams were building that way with 3 center backs or 2 center backs and a right back, whatever it was. And I think what happened to us last year when we played, and I think of the Bournemouth game specifically, teams were killing us in the transition. As we'd lose the ball, we'd transition from a 3 build-up or a 3 possession system to a 2 possession system, and they would just knock the ball in the channels, and we would have like a Johnny Evans or a Lindelof or Maguire or whoever there, and that's how they were killing us. And I've seen a lot more sort of solidity in the fact that we're building up and keeping possession in this 3 shape, as well as transitioning into defense in this 3 shape. And I think that's something that structurally this system gives us an advantage and being more solid that way. But,
100%.
besides that, I think that, the way he's positioned everyone, the responsibilities and the structures of everyone on the pitch, I think we've seen a lot of promise there. And I agree, a lot of the problems fall on the players. Now, some of it's the players not being good enough. Some of it is the continued trauma. And, like I said, United fans are traumatized. We have poor Mo stuck in Birmingham after a loss for a full night. But I think the players kind of feel that trauma as well. And I think during the Ruud van Nistelrooy period, there was this sort of collective sigh. The pressure released for a second. Amorim came in. There was some decent results in the beginning. We beat City and everyone got all excited again. And then we've come back down to earth in what I would still consider Amorim's, preseason almost, the way he's, teaching his system, getting to learn his squad during the games.
Exactly.
On the pitch.
Preseason. And
exactly.
Pretty much.
But for everyone else around him, and you can see it on him as well, you can see the stress on his face at times. I feel like everyone is still in this like heightened sense of everything is wrong. We just want the results to change. Like, what can we do? Like, what can happen to make things better? And I think it's kind of creeping into the squad already. So I agree. It's, it's something where it looks kind of like, we need to make a lot of changes, or, there could be, a lot more negativity to come. But how do you guys feel? Yeah, go ahead.
There are things that he could do a little better. Don't get me wrong. Like drop Bruno for me, or like, let's say, put Ahmad in the wing back, or, try something different in the 10. There are little things that he can do. But at the end of the day, it's not going to make too much of a difference because, like you said, we're playing with 3 at the back, but we're playing 2 fullbacks as the wing backs. So technically it's a 5. In the Sporting system, he'll play wingers as the wing back. So we would attack more higher up. Dalot doesn't take players on and go to the byline and then make a cross. Mazraoui doesn't do that. They stop in the final third and then they pass it back, because I guess, I don't know why they don't want to get exposed or something. So it's not so attacking, but it's because he doesn't really trust anyone else, in wingbacks. Anthony's been okay as a wingback, but he's not the solution. But he's been better than like Dalot. Dalot's been really poor in this wingback system. So So yeah, I think once we get that, we'll start attacking more, like you said, with the back three. I feel like now we're kind of like a Conte system where it's like 2 fullbacks, and we're not really attacking as much. But once we get those players, I think we'll be a better off.
Yeah, I agree. I would disagree on the Mizrahi thing. I think he created Hoyland's goal. One of like Hoyland's first goal under Amorim. Mizrahi beat like 3 guys and then crossed it in, and Hoyland had a great, finish. But then in the last game, one of the first chances of the game, we got the ball off the kickoff. We went down. Mizrahi flashed the ball across the box, and it looked like both Hoyland and Bruno missed it somehow. But I agree, our left side is in shambles, and we need to figure something out there. But Mo, like I understand that when a new manager comes in, things need to change, right? And sometimes there's, quote unquote, the scapegoat or the example. You saw it with at Arsenal. What's his name? The coach Arteta. He got rid of Lacazette and he got rid of Aubameyang almost immediately when he got there, and you could see he was leaving them out of the team. And the media, Piers Morgan, guys were like, "Is this a good idea?" Whatever. Ten Hag, whether it was on purpose or by accident, it happened with Ronaldo, and then it happened last year with Sancho. It appears now the sacrificial lambs, the scapegoats, whatever, are Rashford, Casemiro to a lesser extent, and Eriksen to a lesser extent, but those guys have played
Garnacho a little bit too,
and then Garnacho as well. Do you agree with this? Do you see this as a success, a failure of man management? Is this something that you're worried about, or you think it's kind of like the right decision, what we need to be doing now?
Now, these are the kind of players that like he just had to cut them off. As Mourinho said, there are a lot of deadwoods in the team that like we have to get rid of them to get to the new Man United that we want to arrive. There are a couple of players that like you have to flash them out of the team, like Erik ten Hag did with Sancho. He got Sancho out of the team. One way or the other, I don't think Sancho is going to come back to United. And then Rashford, he's part of the players that have to go. Like Mourinho got rid of Paul Pogba. These are some players that like they have effect in the dressing room, like Arteta did with Lacazette and couple of Airways and Aubameyang and that kind of thing. These are players that like you have to take them off so you can put your stamp on the team. So yeah, I totally agree. He should just get rid of Marcus Rashford because he's not contributing anything. Granting interviews, unnecessary interviews, like during the most difficult time of the team, doesn't help anyone. It doesn't help you. It doesn't help the team. Just like the way Erik ten Hag did with Cristiano Ronaldo. He put Ronaldo aside, even though he is like our all-time best player. But yesterday he put Ronaldo aside. So he should just put Rashford aside. Whoever like wants to follow Rashford should just leave. After all, we have like 9-10 players that we want to get rid of them, but we can't because of their salaries and wages, and no team is going to take them because they're all deadwoods. I was just looking at the game we played against Wolves, and I was thinking how many United players can even get into the Wolves starting 11. Most of the Wolves starting 11, I don't think anyone is earning almost £200,000 a week. I don't think anyone is getting that amount of money at Wolves. But look at the way they outplayed us. Running, attacking, recovery. They outplayed us. They did everything more than we did. So what's happening? Like there are a lot of players that like have to get rid of that, have to leave the club. So with Rashford, I don't have any regrets. Initially, last season, I was thinking, oh no, Rashford can come up good this season. But hey, nothing has changed. It's the same old Rashford that we know from last season till now. So he's just get rid of him.
Yeah, Rashford.
Do you feel though?
No, go for it.
Sorry.
Go for it.
Do you feel though, like Erik ten Hag, right? Like I blame Sancho for his reaction and in the media, and then not apologizing, and then they had the beef. And if you're ten Hag, you understand you have to maintain sort of your position of power or authority or whatever it is. You can't have guys just openly revolting and talking smack and then just saying, okay, we're going to forgive you because, we have this crisis. Like the Sancho thing happened. And then I think Antony left, and I think we had another injury or maybe, and we had no forwards. We had no right winger at the time. Ahmad was still hurt. And like if Sancho had just not said what he had said, he probably would have started the next 10, 20 games at right wing. Are you worried that, okay, like I don't know what sort of market there is for Marcus Rashford in January. I don't know if we're going to get enough money or if we're going to have to cover his salary or whatever it is, or if it's going to have to be a loan. Like, are you worried that, this happened at the wrong time going into the window and that could potentially hurt the season? Or do you still think that it's something that it had to be done and, rip the Band-Aid off now and just keep moving forward?
Nah, for me, there's been already too much salt in the season already. Like, I'm not expecting anything from this season. Like Rúben Amorim said, we just have to survive the season. I just don't want us to get relegated. Hopefully, we can win the Europa League and get into Champions League. But I'm not expecting anything big. For me, I'm thinking like our season is over already because like there's no way coming back from that. Where we are now is gonna be difficult. We are 14th on the table. Like, is the worst that's happened for United for ages. Only God knows how long that this like we've been in this position. These are kind of players that like have to leave. How much did we bought Donny van de Beek? We bought Van de Beek around 65 million pound, and he left for 500,000 pound because he's not contributing anything to the team. Just let them go if they're not contributing. This is the worst season, worst time of the club. So far as you're struggling, any player that is not contributing anything. Look at the likes of West Ham, Chelsea, Arsenal. How many players do you see talk to the media? None. Manchester United is the only team from last season that we're always in the media, not for a bad performance, put a bad performance, but from the players talking to the media. Even before a game, before is it Nottingham Forest, the team sheet was leaked out. Someone from the players from the dressing room got the team sheet out a day before the game, and Rúben Amorim was so upset, and he called up Ahmad and Garnacho for that. He spoke to them too, and they said it wasn't them. So there is a lot of problem. Like there is lack of discipline. Everything that Cristiano Ronaldo said is coming to light now. There's lack of discipline at United. Why are the players talking to the media unnecessarily? They are not concentrating. Chelsea, I don't remember the last time, apart from what Enzo Fernandez did during was it the World Cup or the Euros about their racism chat. I don't remember the last
It was
time.
Copa America.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I remember the last time Chelsea player came out in the media, like he was in the media so much for doing a lot or talking about the club. Arsenal, I don't remember since they got rid of Aubameyang. I don't remember the last time they had that kind of situation. Man City, apart from Jack Grealish getting drunk unnecessarily, I don't remember last time they had that kind of situation. Wolves, Leicester, just mention the teams. It's only Man United that every season have that problem from Paul Pogba to Cristiano Ronaldo to Sancho to Rashford. Come on, how long is this going to keep on going on?
But don't you think part of that is the media's fault? Like, are people sticking a microphone in Chelsea players'
the players,
faces?
the media don't
players'
force them.
faces?
The media don't force them. They don't push the microphone. Sorry to say, but the media don't push the microphones in their throats. They
don't push the media. Don't push Rashford to come out with that interview.
No, not always. Not always.
The media didn't push him to say that. The media didn't push him. They will say, okay, we want to have an interview with you. I have this proposal for this interview. Are you interested? If you think that's him first and you think, okay, we are not in a good position. No, I'm not interested. Just decline it. But I keep on giving these people the opportunity. Before they release the interview, the statements, they'll definitely come, okay, are you ready? Should we release this out? Is this a good time? And he gave them the green light. Okay, yeah, you can release this. You know, after all, he knows what the team is going through. Now, most of these players, like, they don't deserve to be part of like the team. They should just get rid of them. I don't care if it's gonna go for free or whatever. They should get rid of them already. We are struggling. They should just let them go.
I'm with Mo there, 100%. Like it came out that the club didn't even know that he did the interview. You know, and it's like, come on, bro. Like we're going through a lot right now, and then you do that, and then Rúben Amorim is like he's probably like, bro, what the hell? You know what I mean? He's like, you're out of the squad. He's like, he's probably not gonna play again. Hopefully we get rid of him in January, and if we do, it's kind of like it sends a statement to like, yo, nobody is safe in this club. You know, nobody is, man, born and bred, high wages, kind of Mr. Manchester United, right? This guy is like the face of our club. Peace out, bro. You know, we don't want you anymore. You're out. That kind of will send like a statement to the other players. You know what I mean? And the fact that he's kind of leaving out Ericsson, he's leaving out Casemiro, he's leaving out Garnacho, he's leaving out the people who are on high wages, number one, and maybe who are not good enough, and little by little he needs to phase these players out. He needs to do the same thing with Bruno. He needs to do the same thing with anyone else who's not good. So for me, anybody could get it. I don't care. I'm not Player FC. I don't have posters of players on my wall. I don't care. I have Manchester United on my wall. That's the only team that I care about. That's the only thing I care about. I have no kind of like emotional attachment to anybody who gets paid, what Rashford is getting paid, and then he's soaking on the pitch. He can't even be tracking back, who leaks the team news, who disrespects the club, who disrespects the fans. You know what I mean? That allegedly. To me, yeah, allegedly, but someone is leaking it. Whoever is leaking it, obviously we don't know about Rashford.
Is for sure leaking
Yeah,
into
yeah,
it.
yeah.
We don't know. It
No,
could
but
be
I'm
him.
saying
It could be his crew, but like we don't know for sure.
Yeah, but Rashford also he has this team around him, like his brothers and his media team who push it. Like Amorim said it, he has the wrong people around him, And I feel like it was club's fault as well, giving him high wages and putting him up there for, making him the face of our club. So the club has some responsibility, but when you're out in Belfast, a day before training, when you're out partying, when you're out clubbing during the week, that's unforgivable for me. And it's not like if you're Wayne Rooney, and scoring all these goals, maybe you can have a conversation saying, okay, yeah, you can do whatever the hell you want off the pitch. But when you're acting like that on the pitch, when you're not even going to clap the fans, you're just going straight and you're soaking. Nah, it's unforgivable, man. This guy's ego is way too big, and and a lot of these other players. Yeah, go for it, Mo.
Yeah, let me give you one example. Look at Phil Foden. Phil Foden is not performing for City this season. He's only scored 1 goal this season, and no one has heard of Phil Foden. No media outlet is speaking about Phil Foden because he's been so quiet, just concentrating on how to get his phone back. No one is talking about Foden. But look at Rashford. Rashford has scored just like 7 goals or something like that this season, and he's all over the media. Even he's more popular in the media than the Man United club itself.
Jack Grealish hasn't scored a goal in 45 games for Manchester City or something
And
like
no
that.
one says nothing about it.
And I don't think that's okay. So listen, I agree. I'm a Manchester United fan first. I don't think Rashford should play again for United. I think they should get rid of him in January, the first chance they get. It's heartbreaking for me because I do like Marcus Rashford. I've watched his whole career. This is the kind of guy who you wanted to make it at the club. He's from Manchester. He does a lot for the local, communities of Manchester, the underprivileged communities, the kids, whatever. And, he has provided a lot of great moments in that shirt. The Chelsea free kick, the penalty at PSG, he scored at Arsenal, City, Liverpool. Like he scored against all the big six. He's not a guy who's like a flat track bully, like we used to say Lukaku was. He's a guy who's performed on the big stage for United. But I agree, there comes a time when it's over, and when it's over, you should move on. But putting that all aside, I would say that his team has played a blinder here because whether they like it or not, the United players are going to be in the media, from Beckham to Rooney to whoever. They've always come after those players first. And the fact that the media, okay, Marcus Rashford hasn't played anywhere close to where he should for United, but United have been poor this year. They got a manager fired, but he still has over 10 goals or 10 goal contributions across the season. He's Amorim's second top scorer, I believe, since he's taken over, and was taken as the top or joint top scorer. I'd say his team has played a blinder here because he has pulled himself out of the firing squad. United fans are saying, yeah, he's a bum, he should go. They were saying that anyway. If he was playing now and we were getting the results we were getting, then the entire narrative would be how terrible Marcus Rashford is. And, we saw this with Pogba. We've seen it with Martial. We've seen it with other people. We saw it with Rooney for a bit when he asked to leave back in the day. When the United fans turn on you, like, that's it. Like, there's no coming back. And I think he's kind of seen that coming. And I think, he was left out of the City squad. And the day after we beat City, all they talked about was Marcus Rashford. And I don't think this was something that he asked to be in the media to hear about it. I think it's just that's the nature of the media surrounding United. They can't let us be happy about something for a day. They're coming at us and giving us a hard time. And, we'll point out this other thing that's wrong. And he's kind of taken himself away from being the lightning rod. I agree. He's got to go. There's no reason he should put the shirt back on and play for United again. But, at the same time, I think the media, whether it's Phil Foden or Jack Grealish, I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that, United's hated or adored but never ignored. They're the team that gets the clicks, gets the views. So they have to put these guys in the media because, nobody cares if Phil Foden's not scoring or not, even though he was technically the best player last year, or England's best player last year. They only care because United is the club that gets people talking and reading the articles and stuff like that. But that's just kind of like my opinion.
No, I get you. To a certain extent, I do agree with you because Like our media is just insane. Like you don't hear about City's players. If this happened with City, no one would hear about it. You know what I mean? But that just comes
You
with
won
the
the treble and nobody cared.
exactly. That just comes with the territory, though. For me, I have the same
Mhm.
energy for everybody. It's not just Rashford, Garnacho. You guys know how I feel about Garnacho. I don't like this guy. I think his ego's too big. I think he's not good enough, and you can clearly see in this system that he doesn't suit. And he's always his brother too is always on Twitter. He's always chatting to other people. He's another person that's following Rashford's footsteps. Who's the leader in that team? Rashford. Who's the senior player in that team? Rashford's supposed to be the senior player. When you have players like this, other players will follow. All these other when you have Bruno as a captain who on the pitch performs terribly and it has lacks self-discipline. When you have all these players around you, it's just like everyone's gonna get that, like everyone's gonna get influenced by that. So for me, I have the same energy, not just for Rashford, for everybody. And the media will always be the media, you know what I mean? Especially with Marcus Rashford, OBE. This guy has done so much for England, you know what I mean? And he's such a high profile name. So I guess you're right, but to a certain extent. But Rashford, he got dropped out of the squad. It was a big thing, and then it became even bigger because he went to do the interview. You know what I mean? He could have just gone and done the whole charity thing, and okay, cool, charity for kids. But then why do you have to add an interview saying that, oh, I want and you want a new challenge? It takes away from what you're trying to do with charity, right? If you want to do a charity, cool, keep it separate. Don't add the whole Harry Winter, and he chooses Harry Winter, which is his boy. You know what I mean? It's just he's really cool with Harry Winter. Of course, he's gonna choose him to do the interview. So for me, that was totally uncalled for. You get dropped. It was okay. Like it was the headlines for a while, and then you made it even bigger. You know what I mean? So it's like he's not helping himself, in my opinion. You know what I mean? So it's a little bit of both. I get what you're trying to say, though.
Right. It's kind of depressing me. Mo, I don't know if you want to add anything else or you want to move on to more potentially positive news, which is the January transfer window. Um, I think we will do business. I think Ineos has to do business. I think to let Amorim go the rest of the season with this squad would be, negligence, maybe criminal, borderline criminal behavior. Do you believe we will do anything? And if so, what positions do you expect us to strengthen in the January transfer window?
For me, if you ask me personally, I might just say he should just work with what he has. Just work with the players that he has. Give the young lads from the academy, give the likes of Harry Amas the chance to come in and start getting rid of players, because you cannot get rid of 10 players in one transfer window unless you want to send them out on loan. So this is the time, this January, to push most of them out. The likes of John Evans, the likes of Victor Lindelof, the likes of Casemiro. Just give them the chance. Start getting rid of them now, because the season is already gone. All we have to do, like he said, is to survive. Like he should use this season as like, okay, a tryout season, like a preseason. Work with what he has, infuse the young lads, like to try to survive the season with this young team, with this team in the young lads, and try to like start getting rid of most of the players and start working on the players that he wants to get in summer. Bring them in, because if you bring the players in, this team is a lazy team. If you bring someone into this, let me give you an example. Joshua Zeski's first game against Fulham at Old Trafford, I was there. He was super running, working extremely hard. But now look at Joshua Zeski now. He can't run for a good 60 minutes. Watch some of his videos at Bologna and compare his videos to at United, the kind of games that he's playing now. Because he's not a bad player. He's been put into a bad team, and it's become a bad note because he's been put in the bad team. If I'm running and you are not running, hey, maybe probably you're taking more money than I am taking. Why should I kill myself if you're not running? So this is the bad team. There are a lot of players that like needs to go. He should start getting rid of them. Work with what he has, and to survive the season with what he has. At least we're not expecting anything big this season. And then let's wait till summer. For me, I'm not expecting any big signing in January, in this winter transfer. I'm not expecting anything big.
Oof. So just let the team start trying to survive. Do you think we'll survive if we don't make any changes? Like, honestly, with the form that we're on, we could potentially get relegated.
We can survive. We're not going to get relegated. We can survive, because these are the same team. Do not forget, we were second. We won the FA Cup with this team, even though we're eighth. We were third with the same team as well. Or is it third or fourth under Ole or something like that? It's the same team. Yeah. And then
second under Ole, yeah.
Yeah, and under Eric Ten Hag, the same team we were Ted with Eric Ten Hag as well, his first season. So these are the same team. He should just keep pushing them. Like, okay, they are a bad team. You're gonna bring another players in, and then you keep on bringing more players, and it's the same team. For me, I believe like, okay, this is the time, January, get rid of at least 2-3 players so you make more room for summer transfer window. Promote some two. You got Toby Collier, you got Harry Whitley, you got Harry Amas, you got young lads. Bring them in and just start getting rid of the players. Marcus Rashford and co. Just let them leave. That's my personal opinion. That's what I think.
That's interesting. It's very bold, I'll say, because I'd be worried about, I agree with you. I think you need to start cutting out the players that aren't working hard enough, aren't good enough, etc. But then you have that balance of, do you want to ruin young players by exposing them to the bad players and the losing too early? Kevin, what do you think about January? Do you think we'll do business? And if
I'm with
so,
you
what
with
positions do you think we'll
I'm with you on
strengthen?
the young players. I don't want to bring the young players in. Not in this team. And the pressure is too big right now. You bring in young players to a 14th struggling United squad. They're just gonna get eaten out alive. Their confidence is gonna drop. I wouldn't do that. I would try to
You need
get
like a Ronaldo level mentality
yes. I would
to
get
survive.
exactly. I would get and Ronaldo is like an anomaly. You know what I mean? That guy is just a machine.
Yeah.
But anyway, for me, I would try to get some players in at least like 2 or something like that. In the key positions. Obviously, hopefully, if Rashford goes, we need a replacement for Rashford or something. The January window, we've always done something in the January window with the Glazers. We've gotten Igalo, we've gotten Weghorst, we've gotten Sabitzer under the Glazers. Now that Ineos is here, Ineos, if you're
Bruno.
serious,
And all
you
of
will
sorry,
use January.
all of this signing, all this January signing, they didn't help the club. How many goals did Wigo score? How many goals did Igalo score? All of this
I think Weghorst was an important part to that season for Erik ten Hag. You know what I mean? I think so. Igalo definitely helped a little bit. For me, it's we need players that will help in this system because we can't just bring other players and leave them out hung to dry. So for me, I would try to get other players, maybe a signing if we can. It doesn't have to be a big signing because realistically, we're not going to get our big signings. We can get either players, young players coming, from other teams, or maybe we can do some sort of business. We need some players, and then the other ones, they will get exposed. Like for example, Bruno. He's going to keep playing Bruno because this is captain. For me, I wouldn't play Bruno if I was him, but he's going to keep playing him. He's going to keep playing all these, Hoyland, of course, because we have no striker. He's going to keep playing all these players. So for me, if you're good enough, it will show. And if you're not good enough, it will also show. So, like you said, this is kind of like a preseason, like a trial season to see who's cut out to do the job and who's not. So we're going to have to accept that we're going to see bad performances from players. So for me, next summer is when we really start, trimming down the squad, but we should definitely use the January because we're far behind as it is. We're like so behind. If we don't use this January transfer window to get rid of players and get new players in, then we're just gonna fall further and further behind. Liverpool is gonna make signings. Maybe City will make signings, and we're just gonna keep falling further behind. So for me, January is very, very important. I will be so angry and so pissed if we don't get nobody in and nobody out because that means the Ineos doesn't care. That means that it's their fault. It's their fault the reason why we're in where we are right now because he didn't give Rúben Amorim a preseason. He didn't give him his players that he wants because he will have a say in the players that he wants. Who knows? Like, yeah, you're right, Chris. All the players that we got in the summer suit his system, but maybe he wanted some other players out. Maybe he wanted another player here or to suit exactly for what he wants in the system. So for me, Ineos have to rectify that and use the January transfer window. And that's just my opinion. That's what I think.
Yeah, I agree. I think they have to use the window. I know everyone says, and I'm saying it, this period is sort of a preseason, but there is a limit to how bad we can become. Like, I don't believe we're going to get relegated. But if we finish 17th, do you guys honestly believe that Amorim will have a job next year? Like, they're going to finish 17th and then he's going to go into the summer like feeling confident?
He might
that he's
walk.
going to
He
be
might
here next
walk.
year.
If he doesn't get players, he might leave. He's the type of he's like, my rep is on the line. If I'm not getting the players, I'm out. You know what I mean?
They also gave him a really short contract, and I don't know if it's something where they've looked at previous contracts and the money they've had to pay out for firing coaches, whether it's Ali, Mourinho, Ten Hag, etc. But he's on a 2.5-year contract, including this next half year. So at the summer, it's going to be a 2-year contract, and maybe there's a +1 in there. But generally speaking, new managers don't get such short contracts. So I don't know if it was mutual. I don't know if it's something he wanted, but it looks like they have it out just in case it doesn't work out. But like I feel like they need to make upgrades and they need to make changes now. Like the first thing, and both of you alluded to it, it's the wingbacks. The wingbacks aren't working. I think Mazraoui works on the right side but Ahmad's probably the best option there. I think Delo would be decent there, but he's overplayed the last year and a half, bordering 2 years, and also 2, I think he's a decent defensive left back, but he has zero attacking ability on the left-hand side. I think number one, we need to bring in a left wing back, and we do have options there. There's Alvaro. I don't know if he's going by Carreras now or whatever, Carrera, but he was Alvaro Fernandez when he was here. We sold him. I get why we sold him. Okay, when I saw him play at Preston or at Huddersfield for Preston, he was a wing back. He had zero defensive responsibility. Did well in the championship, but he played wing back. He was attacking. He was almost on the wing. We loaned him to Girona last year in the first part of the season. Girona played him as left wing, or left wing back. They didn't play him at fullback. Benfica is the first club he's played for where they played him and developed him as a fullback, which is kind of funny because we, bring in Amorim and now he's developing as a fullback, and he could be a wing back, or would have been playing as a wing back if he had stayed. I just thought that was funny, but that's something we can get for 16 million euro or 16 million euros, I think it is, and we can just bring him back. And even if he doesn't work out, he's a good backup option, and I think he has a sell-on value beyond that 16 million euros. There's some other options at left back that we can bring in.
We're getting Nuno Mendes. I think it's Mendes. I don't know, but
from PSG.
So Kirkes, we linked to
Kirkes.
I don't think a club like PSG will let go of Nuno Mendes. PSG is playing the Champions League. I don't think they will let go of a player like Nuno Mendes in the middle of the season.
Yeah, me either. But supposedly he wants to go. Supposedly.
If it's summer, fine. But in the middle of the season and they are playing Champions League, they will need a squad depth. They will not let go of a player like that. It's going to be difficult for them to get a replacement for Nuno Mendes if they let him go in this winter transfer.
If we get that, if we pull off a big signing in January like that, then we're in business. You know what I mean? Then that's a good thing for me. That would be a positive thing. But we'll see.
I think we can. If you look at Chelsea 2 years ago, they signed Enzo Fernandez for 100 million. It's from Benfica, and you're right, Mo. Maybe a team like PSG won't give up a player like that. I know he played for Amorim. I was super excited about him, but after watching Jadon Sancho cook him in the Champions League quarterfinals or semifinals, I'm a little bit less excited about Nuno. But I know he fits this system well. Again, he wouldn't be a fullback. He would be a wing back, and I know he has a lot of attacking ability. But there's no shortage of talent. I think personally we need a wing back. We need some sort of cover at center midfielder, whether that's promoting Collier, like Mo said, who I think could potentially play because he's already a first teamer. He's not a youth player. He's been in and around the squad already, maybe playing him. And then I think we do need an attacker. And I don't know who that attacker is. I think if you look at Xerxes, if you look at Højlund, they have a lot of good attributes. And Ahmad talked about it. He said he's a young player. Garnacho is a young player. Højlund's a young player. Xerxes is a young player. Xerxes great with the hold-up play and coming back and linking play, but maybe not as great within the final third. Højlund is a little better at finishing and being more clinical, but I think there's some issues with his movement. You can see when Xerxes plays, he gets on the end of stuff in the box, even if he's not finishing when he is in the box. Højlund, it feels like you can – people say Bruno's not creating chances for the striker. I've seen moments where Bruno or somebody else, Garnacho, Delo, and I'm not saying this is, them, that's their excuse for taking crazy shots, but I've seen them flash the ball across the box, and Højlund has either been a step slow or on his heels or hasn't had the anticipation to get there. And maybe he'll learn that. Maybe they'll be taught into him by Amorim. But, I feel like we need something a little bit more guaranteed in the box. And maybe that's playing Ahmad in the front three and playing guys who can play off him better, or whatever it is, but something needs to be done. I've heard Nkunku might be available from Chelsea. He doesn't play a lot. They have him. They have João Felix. They're kind of the same role. They have Nicholas Jackson, Cole Palmer. Like, they don't have enough spots for all those guys. So I think you could maybe get a guy like that on loan. But other than that, like, I probably wouldn't go like spend 80 million on, Victor Osimhen or Gyökeres or something like that. But I think there's potential. We're going to try and do something like that, especially if we
Osimhen is going to struggle. Osimhen is going to struggle in this United team because this is
I agree.
Struggling.
100.
Osimhen will be good in a team like Man City. Osimhen will be good in a team like Barcelona or Real Madrid because he has the midfielders that will cook for him to score. He's just a goal scorer, but he's not a goal getter like Berbatov, like Tevez. He's just a typical like Haaland, even though like he uses the physique more than Haaland. We don't have the midfielders to cook the ball. Rasmus Haaland is a good striker, but we don't have the people. I bet you, with the confidence and the strength that Rasmus Haaland has, if you put him in the Barcelona team or Real Madrid team, he's going to score more goals. Or even in the Man City team, he's going to score more goals. But no one is providing goals for him. Like, no crossing is coming. He sometimes has to come to the midfield, work for himself, go up front and go and score. If you put Osimhen in this United team, he's going to struggle. He's going to come out to be like the worst signing United has ever has.
Yeah, we can't be doing that like the 80 million striker the January. No, we have some other positions that we need to fill. In the summer, I'm sorry, Onana, you gotta go. Bayern there, we need to get rid of a goalkeeper. We need a new goalkeeper. We need like you said, we need a 6. We need 10s. We need wing backs, and then you build your spine, and then you can be like, now let's spend 80 million on an Osimhen or something. But for me, there's so many other positions that you need to address first, and before you address this, because it's, these players from a different system, players that lack a lot of football IQ. All these players that don't have football IQ, get rid of them. These pace and power merchants and stuff. Obviously, you need pace and power in a team, but in this system, it's useless. You get me? Like, you need to be able to get into the right spaces, be positionally aware of where you are, keep the ball well. First touch needs to be good. You need to be technically gifted. You know what I mean? There's so many things that you need to have attributes in this system. That's why for me, I don't like Bruno in this system, because he's not that type of player. Yeah, he does create chances and stuff, but I don't think he suits the system. As a 10, he loses the ball way too often. As an 8, I don't think that he gets bypassed the midfield a lot. So, for me, just little by little, we need to start building a spine of this team, and then we spend that 80 million on Gyökeres or whoever it is.
Yeah, I honestly, for that left 10, I would love Cunha from Wolves.
Yes, get me Cunha. Get me this guy.
I think he does have pace and power, but like his work rate, his defensive ability, he's pressing on people. So like he reminds me of like a bigger version. I don't think he's as skilled as Ahmad is, but like the way he plays,
100%.
Like I love Ahmad because he's the Tasmanian devil out there, right? Like he's like little, but he's running around and like he wins everything. He wins ground duels, he wins headers. Like Ahmad, like that's the one thing I would say about Ten Hag. Like the fact he didn't play Ahmad more is just insane. But on the other side, I think bringing someone like Cunha in there, we can have the conversation on the other side. I'm not completely changing my opinion there, but like that's something that I'm willing to admit. But I think Cunha there. So like I agree. I think ideally we would get potentially a center back, whether it's a left-sided center back to challenge Martinez, or someone who could split time between left and center, because I think we're going to move. Maguire's been playing well, but I don't think he's someone who's long-term for United. Maybe we keep him for another year. But I like the sort of stable of defenders that we have between Martinez, De Ligt, Lenny Yoro, and Mazraoui. I think we need to add someone else in there, someone who can either play on the left and center, someone physical, someone with pace. And then I do agree we need wing backs. At least maybe 2 left wing backs would solve it, because then we could say we have 2 left wing backs. We don't have to play Delo or Mazraoui there, and then Delo and or Mazraoui can fit in, and Ahmad can play on that right side. I like Ahmad as a 10. I think Mason Mount works as a 10, but I think he's done at United because of his injuries the same way Shaw is. I think Bruno could work there if, he has the right team around him. But I think when the team isn't good, Bruno starts doing his bozo thing and flying all over the field and trying too hard and doing stuff he's not good at, which leads him to get yellows and bad tackles and get kicked out of games. I like Ugarte a lot. I like Kobe Manu. Obviously, I think he has a long-term future at the club, but I think they need another good midfielder in there. Someone who can run and press and has energy to play next to Ugarte. And then at the striker, those front three roles, I think like before Rashford stopped playing, his best game was the Everton game. He played as that sort of right attacking mid. And then during the game, him and Xerxes would swap. He would be on the last line. Xerxes would come deep to link up play. I think if we have options to rotate, something like Garnacho could work, as long as we're still doing that. One guy goes up, two guys come down, everybody presses when we're off the ball. But, I think ideally if we can get like Acuna in there next to Ahmad and then whatever striker we have, I think that we could cook. We could, do pretty well. Well, who we're going to sign in January, I don't think we're going to sign all those players. But I think, I think we already signed a left wing back that's coming in the summer, but getting someone in who could play now, so we don't have to play Delo there all the time or, put Mazraoui out there. I think that's essential because our left side is just like we get nothing out of it during these games.
Yeah, 100%. And that just goes to show that it's going to take a while, man, like for us to see like a full like rebuild, because it's just so many players that we need to replace and might not work or might work and stuff like that. This system is just very different. Like I don't think we've ever played this besides Louis van Gaal. I think we did play like a back five or back three or something like that. So but it's been so long since we've applied this specific system, so a lot of the players that we have just suit. Like if we got, can I ask you guys something? If we had Rude here still, do you think we'd be in this position? I personally, I don't think we would. I think we've gotten more points. I think we would have won maybe a few more games because the players suit that type of system. But the fact that Rúben came in, I think that he's trying to implement his system and he's not going to accommodate to them. You know what I mean? Which is good because that's something that previous managers always did. He's like, you guys are going to accommodate to what I want. And is exposing these players. That's why we're falling behind. You know what I mean? I think if we had a player like if we had a manager like that played that system, I think we would have gotten more out of these players. We wouldn't be in this position. But there's context to everything. You know what I mean? So that's what I think. What do you guys think? If we had like Rude or something else, what do you guys think?
I thought Ruud van Nistelrooy, I think he would have provided us like with a quick solution. Like what we saw the results, like he won 3 out of 3 games. That was a quick solution to our problems. But that solution is not going to last long. We had that same with Ole. It was a quick solution. It got exposed at the end of the day. But with Rúben Amorim, you could see like he's building something from the scratch, something that is going to be implemented in the minds of the players that this is what we do. But the way Ruud van Nistelrooy was doing, we were winning games one back and forth, 1 and 2 over there. But can that performance is going to be exposed? People will definitely find out. Was he playing? Was he 4-3-2-1 or something like that when Ruud van Nistelrooy? He wasn't.
Yeah,
really,
it was
I think 4-3-2-1 or something like that. That information would definitely be exposed. This is something that we own. We have the master of the game, like this 4-3-4 system. Rúben Amorim. I'm not gonna lie. For me, I've written this season off already. I'm excited with what Rúben Amorim is doing. So for us, like you could see the system, you could see the structure. Okay, this is what we are doing under Rúben Amorim. I'm excited. So far as we're not going to get relegated, we could finish 17th. We could finish 16th or 15th. I'm not that bothered. So far as we have something to build on from next season, I'm super excited. I'm not gonna lie.
And the good thing is that you can see it like on the pitch. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
you can see on the pitch. Look, I remember one of the games. I've forgotten. Was it his first game or Old Trafford or something like that? You could see the system. You could see, okay, this is our 3 back. You could see them, and you could see Mazraoui and Dalot like, okay, these are our wing backs, and you could see the midfield. You could see, okay, even the way the players are standing on the pitch, you could see in the way they're attacking, defending. You could see, okay, this is working. Even though like we don't have the right players for that system, there are a lot of players that we have to get rid of. Look, if we get good. For me, if you're gonna sign, probably I might say we should sign maybe 2 good midfielders, 2 midfielders that have the engine, the heart to run get rid of Casemiro. Casemiro, maybe we get one good midfielder to support Ugarte in there. We have Bruno Fernandes in there, even though Bruno Fernandes, like, I think he's gonna get exposed along the line as well, because I think he's done his best. The time is catching up with Bruno Fernandes, that kind of thing. So I think like he's gonna get exposed. But look at typical example with what's the name? Newcastle. Look at Tonali, Bruno Guimaraes, and Isaac. Since Tonali came back, you could see Bruno Fernandes has the freedom to join Joelinton and Isaac up front. And look at the goals Isaac is scoring now. Because Tonali is always like defending the midfield, like he's always in front of the defense now. So they have that cover line. So Bruno Fernandes like support the strikers with his creativity. So you could see the goals they are scoring now. But in his absence, you could see like they were struggling, even though they were scoring, but they were not scoring like they were. They are scoring a lot now, and they're not conceding a lot now. It's different from you're scoring a lot and you're conceding, but you're scoring and you're not conceding, because they have the midfield like solid. Bruno Guimaraes support the strikers, and he helps like Tonali to secure the back line. So that's the kind of like midfield we have. But Casemiro doesn't have the heart to be like running back and forth, like supporting the strikers and helping the defensive back line. When he goes, the defensive back line so we are so lucky that we have what's the name? The Delete. I'm so excited with Delete, because you could see like, okay, Delete is that kind of player. He's young and he has that energy to cover, even though like he covers he support the 6 and 8 when they go to support up front. You could see like he's always in the middle to cover up the defense, which is like really good. For me, I could say like we are struggling now, but the storm will be over soon. I'm 100% like behind this manager. I had 100% faith. 100%.
Define soon.
Yeah, very, very soon. Very, very soon. Not this season. No. Not this season.
And like what you said there, like the midfield balance, man. You know, like if you put Ugarte and Bruno in that too, for me it doesn't work, because Ugarte is constantly having to cover his Bruno's mistakes, right? He loses the ball and he has to work extra hard to get that ball back. Ugarte has been our best midfielder for me in this system. He's good at winning the ball back. He's very aggressive. He has to do more. You get me? So it's like
he's been surprisingly good on the ball as well.
Yeah, and he's actually pretty good on the ball, which I was very surprised, like you said. But Bruno is that type of player to like not keep the ball, try something dumb, and then we're exposed again. So if you put a player next to him, who will help him out instead of having to cover for him. You know what I mean? Little things like this, just balance in the midfield. Once we get that right, we'll start to see the fruits and labors of the system. So just gotta be patient, man.
Yeah. And to answer your question, yes, I think if Ruud was here, we would have done better. Honestly, I think if Ten Hag was here, there's a chance we would have been better. I know how like negative the situation had gotten, so like the results were following that. But you're right. It's because of the system. It's because, we had like all these healthy players come back in November. I think the results probably would have been better, but I think it's, the long-term outlook, I think, is better now with Amorim in place. Not to go back negative again. Maybe it's positive for you guys. Ineos first year has passed, the 1-year anniversary since they took over. That large share. Jim Ratcliffe took over 28% of the club. Ineos basically running the club in that time. What do you guys feel like? What's your verdict so far on Ineos's first year?
No, Ineos, no. I haven't been excited. I haven't been impressed with Ineos. Like the expectations I had for Ineos, like they've not proven me right. They just seem to be like a different Glazers and like in a different uniform. That's what I see like Ineos to be. We struggled like 5-6 months to get Dan Ashworth in, and due to like conflicts of interest and egos, like we couldn't keep Dan Ashworth, one of the best people in English football. His reputation says that, he came to United and he couldn't survive, like he couldn't stay for 6 months and he left the club. Now the minimum price for ticket at Man United is £66. Whether if you're going to the stadium with your 2 6-year-old kids, you have to buy a ticket of almost like £180 because your one is going to be £66, your 6-year-old boy is going to be £66, and your 3-year-old son has your 5-year-old son, you have to buy a £66 ticket for him. And you're going with your dad who is like 70 years old, you have to buy a ticket for £66. There hasn't been that balance in there. Initially it wasn't like that, but I think this man is trying to like rip all United, like the loyal United fans of. It's different. All the ticket, like I sometimes, because I live in London here, so sometimes I go and watch West Ham games when I'm like, when you buy the ticket, you could see the differences. If you're outdoors, like 18 to certain age, I think I've forgotten the age limit. I think 18 to 60 or 18 to 40, something like that. They have a price tag for that one. And you are from, I think, from 17 downwards, there's a price for that one. And you are 65 plus, the pension age, there is a price for that one. But at United, you don't have that balance. All this one, since Ineos took over, we had that problem. And then even now, I saw like there is this 40 million, 40,000 pounds that they give to the former Footballers Association, Manchester United former Footballers Association, and he's cut that thing off as well. He just cut that thing off. And this year, there have been a lot of people, a lot of staff that lost their job at United this season, all because of Ineos. Sir Alex Ferguson lost his managerial position, all because Sir Jim Ratcliffe is trying to cut off costs. And yes, the team is not performing on the pitch. So what's the point here? I haven't been that impressive. Like with Sir Jim Ratcliffe.
I mean, I agree. I agree with a lot that you're saying. Ineos has been like, you know, they started off pretty slow at first. You know, then they got Barada, which is a good move. You know, they got Wilcox, which is a good move. They got Dan Ashford, which was you know, it ended up being a terrible move. But, you know, apparently he's the one that gave Bruno the contract. He's the one that decided to keep Erik ten Hag or something like that. So apparently, who knows if it's true? But you're right. At the end of the day, who appointed him? Ineos. And you know, they try to rectify the mistake by getting rid of him and all these things, and you know, that was a good thing that they did. But again, the Glazers are still here. You know, we got to remember that the Glazers are still here, and they gave the Glazers a way out. They gave the Glazers a way to stay here. So for me, I don't feel any sympathy, right? Like, oh yeah, they have to, you know, I understand that they're working with what they need to work because we're in debt. So they had to cut costs and they had to raise the ticket prices. I understand all of that because of Ineos. I mean, because of the Glazers' fault. But you know, you got in bed with them. You know, you're trying to fix their mistakes. But for me, if they didn't come, you know, we might have gotten Qatar. We might have. Who knows? So it's been a love and hate thing at the moment. You know, they got rid of Erik ten Hag too late for me, and now look, we're starting to see the reason why that was a bad idea. You know what I mean? Because, you know, for me, they should have gotten rid of him in the summer, and then we can kind of not be as where we are right now. We'll be, you know, falling behind, but not like so much. We would have more prep time, more preparation, and all these things. So that's why I don't want to put the blame on him. I want to put it, you know, more on the higher ups and stuff like that. So, you know, we just got to wait and see what happens. They got to rectify a lot of things. They got to fix a lot of things. Recruitment needs to be good. They need to back this manager. They need to get rid of the players that don't belong here. We'll see how it goes. If a lot of these players are still here, like if they give contracts out and they give high wages and stuff, then it's just going to be another Glazers. So we just got to wait for the full verdict. But for now, haven't been too happy with them, but we'll see how it goes. What about you, Chris? What you think?
Yeah, on the football side, they've definitely been an improvement on the Glazers. You know, they've showed a sort of decisiveness and a willingness to admit, you know, fault or, you know, cut losses before things compound. Like the Glazers would sign a player, it wouldn't work out, and they wouldn't try and sell them and take a loss. They would let that player run out their contract and continue on, you know, the rest of their career somewhere else. They've gone out and they've made good signings, I think, in the transfer window. Listen, I think transfer signings are always tough. There's no one's ever has 100% hit rate. But I think I understand the reason behind all the signings they made. And I don't even think they paid crazy fees for anybody. My main problem with them, you know, besides the fact that they're kind of, you know, hiding the fact that the Glazers tried to ruin the club, they almost bankrupted it. There's still this huge debt, and, you know, they're claiming poverty. And I've been reading some threads on Twitter, and of course that's not necessarily the end all be all of information, but from what I understand, the gist is that United's salaries in their transfer fees are generally either correctly reported or overinflated to show the Glazers are spending money and trying to support the club, where other clubs, their salary level or their wage bill or their transfer fees are underreported, because people are trying to keep a certain appearances and not show them spending too much money. So United have cut salary since all these last year. Right, we lost like 6 or 7 first-team players. Our wage bill has gone down 65 million or something like that. We have generally not spent crazy amounts since then. If you look at compared to City, Arsenal, and Chelsea, those clubs have outspent us by a lot. Chelsea by a factor of almost 3. They say City's wage bill is something like 150 million pounds or euros a year more than ours is. So like, it's not that we don't have money to spend. We're one of the richest clubs in the world. It's that they're choosing to focus on, being profitable and being, spending the money in certain places and others not, because, FFP, but like, I think from an FFP perspective, we're okay. Especially when you look at how Chelsea has manipulated FFP and PSR. It's, we're a public company and we got to take care of the shareholders. And, if the shareholders aren't happy, then, the club's not happy. And again, I'm not someone who was in love with the idea of state ownership, but the idea of moving back to private ownership, zero debt, all money either going on the club or a new stadium or whatever it is, like that is very appealing right now. And based on our revenues, based on who we are as a global, leader, we could be spending a lot more than we are. And the fact that they're, cutting jobs and, taking away privileges from, the Busby Babes relatives and Sir Alex Ferguson and doing all these other things that they're doing, taking away money that was donated to a charity that supported former United players who aren't doing well. Like, these are all little things that kind of go against what I consider to be kind of like the Manchester ethos and like United as a club, because I know Manchester as a city, it's very working class, it's very community based. They're about supporting each other, and the direction that Ineos is going, it feels very sort of like corporate, and listen, maybe if we'll come out of it in 2-3 years and it'll all look fine, and they'll say, look, we will become more healthy. We paid down the debt. We got this new stadium in place. Revenue is up. We can go back to doing stuff like that and supporting the women's team and, things along those lines. But, the way it looks right now, it's honestly, it's a little disheartening for me. And you couple that with kind of the performances on the pitch, and it just I'm not saying I'm wearing paper bags on my head, but it's a tough time, I think, right now to be a Manchester United fan, and I don't think Ineos is doing us any favors in that regard.
No, they're not doing anything for you, because like some of us traveling down, like from south here to the north to watch a game, you have to spend approximately around 150 pounds for a game, because you buy a ticket, like train ticket back and forth, and then the football ticket as well, and then we lose up on top of that as well. It's not worth it, innit? It's not worth it anymore. Like,
don't go to the games, man. Just
I'm going for the Newcastle game. I bought the ticket already. I'm going for the Newcastle game. I think this is the time that we need to stand with the team. This is the time that we need to show support for the team. But like Ineos, they're not helping in any way. Ineos is not helping.
That's what I'm saying. They're not helping.
In any way, they're not helping. Like, okay, this is the time. It seems like you're ripping the people off. Okay, we are struggling. So okay, we're gonna cut off the cost of the ticket, because this is not a good time.
But that's the reason. That's the reason why they raise it, because they know we're gonna pay it anyway. You get me? Like,
exactly. They know. Yeah, that's what they're taking advantage of the loyal fans. Okay, we are struggling this time around, so we're just gonna cut off the ticket from 60. Maybe it used to be £44 minimum. Okay, from £44, we maintain the £44. We're not gonna raise anything until, because this is not the time to raise the ticket up to increase the prices. But they increase the prices whilst we were 13th on the table. These people, they're just like a Glazers in different uniform. They are just cooperated, like business-minded people. They're just here to make money and not thinking about like the team or the supporters or anything.
I mean, yeah, that's true. Don't get me wrong. Like, at the end of the day, football is a business, 100%. But like you said, there's things like that. Like you have to spend a lot, more money in the whole kids thing. Like that, the fact that the kids are still the same, that's not for me. That's messed up. But well, we gotta wait. Like you said, Chris, like we gotta wait and see in a couple years if we're in a better place, and it helps us at the end. Maybe we get a better stadium or whatever. We'll see. But right now, like we just have to judge with what we see right now. But
Yeah.
I do like a little bit that they're showing a little bit of ruthlessness, and I hope they just do that. People are losing their jobs, and Ruben Amorim said it. He's like, people are losing their jobs, and you got these players here just I don't know, like they think that they've made it. You know what I mean? They think that they've made it in life and in this club. It's like, no, you haven't. You got to set standards in the football pitch. You got to set standards. People are losing their jobs. Tickets are getting raised and stuff like that. These players needs to be the same energy with these players on the pitch and get rid of all of them.
Exactly.
So
I
if
agree.
that happens, okay, like be balanced about it. At least be ruthless on the football side of it. But if you're not ruthless, then that's a big red flag for Ineos. So they got some making up to do.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. If people, some of us, like some people like us, like we work so hard to make money, and then yesterday we spend almost like £200, 150 to go and watch a game, and then people like Marcus Rashford taking £350,000 a week are just walking around Old Trafford, like just not willing to run, not willing to pull their socks up. What's the point of having them? You just have to be ruthless. Like, just get rid of them. If they're gonna leave for free, let them go for free. We just bring someone. If it is gonna take another year or two, we don't mind. We just bring someone from the academy, groom him, give him that confidence, give him that chance to be like the next Marcus Rashford. Because we have a lot of young lads in the academy that need that opportunity to be like the next. We gave Kobe Minu that opportunity, and we never regret. We never watch back. We gave Garnacho that same opportunity, and he's there flying high. So,
Yeah, we're just gonna have to cut losses on Rashford. Even if we lose money, who cares? Just make a statement and get rid of this guy. They're gonna save more money on wages anyway because he's on high. Like that's another like around 40 million a year just on his wages. It's
that's
insane. Whoever gave him that contract needs to be sacked on the spot, and it's probably John Murtaugh or something. So he ended up getting sacked anyway.
Yeah, but from what I understand, they're like to match Man City's bill, we could sign 10 more Marcus Rashfords. And I get it. We're in cost cutting mode, whatever. Like we could spend more. And again, like I said, we can see it 3 years down the road. Maybe things will be better. But as an American, I feel like I've seen this movie before, and the cost cutting is not, spread where it needs to be spread. It's more, it's more to line people's pockets. So I hope that's not the case. But okay, like we've been going for an hour. I don't want to go too far down the negative route. We got a couple fixtures coming up. We have Newcastle on Monday. Sounds like Mo is going to that one. Mo, I hope this is better than your last few visits to Old Trafford. And then, we have Liverpool the following Sunday, and then Arsenal in the FA Cup. Do you guys care about the cups at all? Like, obviously, the Europa League might be our chance to get into the Champions League. But do you care about, like, would you be mad if we lost to Arsenal and got knocked out of the FA Cup? I'd be fine with it. Like, I think the more time we have to focus on the Premier League and the Europa League, that's like what we should be prioritizing. But what do you guys think?
You could say like, yeah, you could be fine with it, but if we don't win the Europa League and we finish 13th in the league, then no, I'm not fine with it. You get me? So it's like, we can't juggle all these things. You're right, 100%. But at the end of the day, FA Cup is for silverware, and Carabao Cup, I really didn't care. I was like, whatever, Carabao Cup, I don't really care about it. FA Cup, it's more for me. It's a bigger trophy. I'll be upset, but as long as we go all in on the Europa League and get as far as we can, then I'll be totally okay with it. So it depends. What about you, Mo? What you think?
For me, I'm not that excited about like the Caps this season. Like I'm not paying much attention to it. I'm more like concentrated on the performance, like getting the team to play together as a unit. instead of that, like, oh, okay, let's go all out and win the FA Cup or that kind of thing. Like, we don't have that team. We don't have that structure yet. We don't have that team yet. Look at what Tottenham is it Tottenham? Look how Tottenham did to us. I don't know. I don't know what to say. For me, I'm not expecting much from this team this season. Anything that comes, so far as we're not going to get relegated, I'll be okay. I'm not expecting much this season.
No, I agree. And listen, the FA Cup, we won last year. The best it gets you is Europa League. I'm fine saying whatever to the FA Cup. If I feel like we're safe in the league, we're not going to get relegated, which is amazing. It's crazy that that's even like a realistic possibility right now. If I see we're safe in the Premier League, we're not going to go down. Why not try to win the Europa League? Because if we get Champions League, that's only going to help our revenues. It's only going to help attract better players. Yes, we need to start the rebuild, and we're not necessarily trying to go and sign marquee players right now. We need guys to fill the squad, to play kind of the system and work hard. But at the same time, like, it's always better to be in the Champions League than not. So I think the only cup that I would try and focus on is the Europa League. We only have, I think, 2 or 3 more Europa League matches. I think we have Rangers, right?
And we have next.
Yeah. So like we could win those pretty easy. I think we're in the next round, almost guaranteed to be in the next round now. But like,
we got to win
best team
to make it.
Yeah. If we win Rangers, then I think we might be in the top 8 if we beat Rangers. And then
we're already in the top 8, but yeah, we got to continue that.
But yeah, I think that'll guarantee us top 8 spot, and then we'll get a bye. And then a bunch of teams will play and get knocked out. But who's in the Europa League? Spurs? Like, I'm not afraid of Spurs. Like, I think we could beat them. I know they've beaten us twice in a row. But at the same time, like, I feel like we can still beat Spurs. Like, they're not unbeatable. And, again, maybe we make a couple signings in January and, we've
been pretty decent in Europe. Like, Højlund scored a lot of goals in Europe. And the league, for some reason, we're just very terrible in the league. So in the Europe, we've been actually pretty good. So I definitely sacrificed the FA Cup for the Europa League. You know what I mean? So I'll go all in on the Europa. If it means we get knocked out, that's cool. But if we don't win the Europa, then that's where I'm like, damn, we could have still gone for the FA Cup. So it's a toss up. But yeah, I get what you mean. I'd rather do Europa League all day.
Yeah, I don't care about FA Cup. It gets us into the Europa League if we win it, right? Like, I just want to be in the Champions League. If we're not in the Champions League, let's just use that extra time to build up the squad, because we do have a lot of those younger, exciting players. And while I wouldn't get them in this year, like for sure next year, I would start bringing those guys in, whether it's, Kokonki, Cheeto Obi-Martin, Kone, whatever, Ethan Wheatley, any of those guys. The Fletcher twins, Ibrahimov, like Harry Amos is good. There's so many great, like, exciting young players in that 16 to 18-year-old range, like even Lenny Euro and Kobe Mainu. Kobe's 19, but like, I
think this will be the best time for even Rúben Amorim to get this young lads going, because this is a struggling time. He can easily, this is your opportunity, this is your chance. Just go out. You have nothing to lose. Go out there, take the chance, and just be yourself out there. Enjoy yourself. And I think this young lads, the players that you've mentioned, Martin, Ibrahimovic, just mentioned them. These players can, I believe, I have a lot of faith in them.
Lacey, another one.
Yeah, Sean Lacey, just put them in this FA Cup and that kind of thing. Groom these players, give them this opportunity. Just take the season as a preseason, because you have nothing to lose. Rúben Amorim came when we thought 13th on the table. He took up a team that were already like rotten. He has nothing to lose. So just give the young lads the chance and just see.
Yeah, if we're safe later in the year, like maybe I would do that route. If we're focusing on the Europa League, maybe just throw these young guys out in the league and say, let's see what you can do.
Or if in the FA Cup as well, you can throw them in the FA Cup, like the kids.
Yeah, I mean, we play Arsenal next, so I mean, I think they're going to try to win the cup, and if we get through, maybe. But like, I don't know if I would throw the young guys out to face.
That's
Arsenal.
Crazy. Our first round Arsenal. Like
we've had a decent run lately.
That's true. We've gotten lucky, so it's about time.
We used to do that every year. It would be like, for sure we would get like Arsenal or Chelsea or West Ham, and then City would get like Wrexham or Stockport
or something.
Yeah, exactly. All right, guys. I think we've gone, super long. I don't even want to end with predictions. Like I just want to say, things are rough now. I think we're near bottom. I think they can only go up from here. I would say support the manager, support the players on the pitch, and just generally, like, things like, don't accept bad results, but, like, understand that better days are coming, and to turn on the manager at such an early stage, I think, is not beneficial for anyone.
And there's been a lot of people out there turning on the manager, saying Rúben Amorim now and all these things. I feel like the United fan base is just so reactionary sometimes. So you're definitely right there. We just got to give it time and back this manager, and just realize and understand that we need a proper rebuild, and not the rebuild that we've been doing the past years. You know what I mean? Like, we need a proper one, and get rid of the spine, and change the culture, because the culture is something very, very important in this club. Like, you've seen what we just discussed a lot about the media, about Rashford, and whoever's leaking the news, you know, to the press and all these things like that. All of that culture needs to stop. Like, no other club does that. At the same time, like, yeah, the media, it has a part to play, but other clubs don't leak. You know what I mean? Other clubs don't have leaks. Other clubs don't have players that go to, that do interviews saying, like Lukaku. Remember what happened with Lukaku in Chelsea? What ended up happening? You're not playing for me ever again. You know what I mean? And that was some sort of news. So that's something similar to what we're going through. Like, doesn't happen all the time, but it does happen. And all these players just need to go. All these other players that have that mentality, we need to change it. We need to change the heart of our team. So we just got to give it time. Stripping, we're gonna get some signings wrong. We're gonna get some signings right. It was not everything's gonna be 100%. So I'm in for it. Just strap up, bro. Just strap up. Enjoy the ride.
All right, Mo, thanks again for stopping by. We know it's a little later over there. We always appreciate you joining.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. You plug in anything, Mo?
No, there's nothing much. I'm just gonna say, let's just support the team in this difficult time. We shouldn't expect much from the team. Just take this season to be like a preseason, like a rebuilding period. Do not expect anything. Do not expect any top four. Do not expect any FA Cup. Let's just hope we don't get relegated, and just support the team. That's all I can say. Because the moment you start expecting the team to get into the top four, win FA Cup and that kind of thing, that's where we get more disappointed with the performance and the results. But if we just support them, we know this is the difficult time, we'll definitely get over it. Let's just wait and anticipate for next season.
All right, I like it. Positivity. Yeah, man, positivity.
Yeah.
We got to go through pain to feel pain. So
exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, fine, Mo.
What's your prediction for the game on Monday against Newcastle?
3-0 Newcastle. Bro, Newcastle's a good team, man, and
they've been very good lately.
And we've been really bad at Old Trafford lately. So I don't know, man. I'll be surprised if we get a draw, bro, to be honest.
It's at Old Trafford. I wouldn't be surprised if something crazy happened and we pulled out a victory, just like as a response to all this stuff. There's no Bruno, so we need to change things around a little bit. Although last time we took Bruno off the pitch, we didn't create a chance for like the last 20 minutes of the game. So it's going to be tough, but we'll see. We'll see what happens, right? Like, this is a tough game. I don't know. What do you think, Mo? What are you predicting?
Me prediction. I'm not expecting, like I said, I'm not expecting it because like my heart has been broken a lot of times this season. Against the last one was against Nottingham Forest. To the Storm, I was expecting a win, at least like 2-1 or 3-0, something like that. We got beaten like shamelessly in our own backyard. So I'm not expecting anything. Newcastle is a team that's like, they are on fire. They've been scoring a lot of goals, this, like I said, and we've been considering a lot of goals as well. So we should expect some mistakes from the game against Newcastle. Even if you're gonna win, we're definitely gonna concede some goals. You see that draw, get a draw.
I'm sorry, sir. My bad.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
I'm interested to see, like, Bruno's out. I totally forgot that Bruno's out. I'm interested to see how we play without Bruno and who he puts in those and replacing a Bruno's, because if we play better, we'll see. We play well.
Yeah, let me ask you one thing before we go. Do you think the manager is being stubborn? Like, should he change the formation or should he stick with this formation because it's not working now at the moment? Should he stick with it or should he change it?
Nah. Stick with the formation. Don't change it, because if you change it, who wins? The players again. You get me? That can't happen. You gotta. For me, you gotta stick to your guns. And he said it. He's like, this is who I am. Like, if I change this, I change who I am. You know. So he's not gonna do that. He's not gonna do with like Eric Ten Hag did or previous managers to accommodate them. So I don't think he shouldn't. I don't think he should change it. He should maybe change certain positions and maybe players and you know, that's it. But to change the formation, nah, I don't think so.
Okay.
I mean, I think, you know, if it comes down to it and he needs to, then fine. Like he did that at Sporting. Like he had an injury crisis and he had to switch to a 4-2-3-1 for a few matches. That's fine. But I think like kind of like Kevin said, long term, I think that he's going to stick with this formation. But I do really have to go, fellas. Thanks again for joining. Thanks for hopping on the stream. Always great talking to you. You know, you can find Mo. It's at @classic_Man United 1 on TikTok, and then at @classic_Man United on Instagram and on YouTube. I think you're above 1,000 YouTube followers already, right? Like subscribers. More than 1,000. Great. Congratulations, man. Great job there.
Yes, guys.
Kevin at @football_or_soccer_ on Instagram, and then YouTube it's @football_or_soccer_, and then Twitter @footy_or_soccer TV, making it my life a little harder. Got to read all these different ones out. But yeah, definitely go follow these guys. Check out my socials. You can see it in my about page. And then please, if you aren't already, subscribe, hit that bell for notifications, and then check us out, you know, on our next video when we drop, hopefully sooner rather than later. But again, thanks again, guys. Thanks for joining United in the States. And of course, up the Reds.
Peace out.
Peace.